I hunt this crew down to the hotel. I go into the lobby and there's a dude with the belt on. Now, I'm like, man, I just want to be on a film. Like, here's my number. You know, if anybody, who do I talk to? I'll do whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, we'll give you a call. I never got a call. From the director's chair, it really is kind of like a process of documenting my journey and my career as a director. 3 questions. I'm only going to do 3 questions each time. That way, I think each one can kind of have a proper amount of time for discussion. Instead of making like a 5-hour video that you're never going to watch, I'm going to try to, be reasonable. So, 3 questions. Question number 1. What inspired me to become a filmmaker, and how did I get started? So I always break it back down to I sucked at guitar. Yeah, not really. I was kind of like a cool guitarist, but I couldn't write any kind of music that I really felt connected to me artistically, creatively, like connecting to my soul, right? So when I was going back to college to become a computer programmer, to make video games, which I realized later that like it was really about the storytelling that intrigued me. I had to take an extra elective, and there was a film history class, and I'm like, easy A. Like, why not? It's just watching movies. But they had you write essays and all this like real critical analysis of the films. And there was one, and it was this documentary, basically, this like comp of whatever of multiple films that they were kind of going through. And one of them was called In Cold Blood. And the point of the film, or this like section, was how this stoic character was staring out the window, this emotionless monster of like a killer. And they had rain going down the window, and the light was pushing through. So the reflection or the shadows of the rain looked like tears coming down his face. And that was his way of expressing. And I'm like, wait. Like, film can do that?
Yelling and yelling until I grabbed his throat. I couldn't stop myself. He tore loose, got a gun. He said, look at me, boy. Take a good look, because I'm the last living thing you're ever gonna see. And he pulled the trigger. But the gun wasn't loaded.
Like, that layer of like emotion and creativity. And so my mind just popped, and I was just hungry for it ever since. I mean, I bought a camera, anything and everything that I could find a way to put my camera onto it. I was finding excuses to shoot. And so my first music video was with my friend Jonathan Terrell, country music artist. And it took me 3 months, I think, to create something now that I could shoot and edit probably within 3 days. I mean, it was a learning process for me, but I became very addicted to it. And just through, networking and making friends, a buddy of mine, Leo Wong, producer friend, he got me onto my first set, and it helped me get established as a behind the scenes photographer, right? Set photographer. And that kind of led in. And then my background of like, I was shooting my own stuff. I was directing my own little short videos, and that just kind of built up a reputation that I got onto other sets. And that way ever since, almost 20 years later, 18, I think. So what inspired me? Shitty guitar. Second question. This was sent in from Gerardo Vega. And his question is, for someone who would like to try to act or be a part of a movie in Texas, what would you recommend process-wise of getting there? Like, to get on set, to be involved, to have some position or involvement on a set? Great question. It's almost impossible. I'm just kidding. Depending on what you want it to be, right? And some of this stuff kind of plays together, right? One, it takes a lot of networking and socializing and persistency. So you've got to market yourself to be, talent. There's platforms like Backstage, casting networks. casting that I think that those two sides also play with, being acting and crew, right? And then you have my castingfile.com, which you can get signed up to be background. So even though it's not a bigger role, like in the last one with my casting file, background is great because it gets you on sets. You're able to network, you're able to socialize, and people see that and they see the attitude. So a lot of times that can get you onto other gigs just because people like you, they know you're cool to be around with, and you're not a dick. So that does go a long way. Other things are like Facebook groups, like we're all on social media. So like Dallas actors, Texas filmmakers, I'm just making stuff up. But there's tons of them. Like all you have to do is just go on there and just a couple of keywords and you've got it, right? Organizations like the DPA, the Dallas Producers Association, the DFC, the Dallas Film Commission, DFA, the Dallas Film Alliance. All of those organizations offer up networking events, social mingles, meet and greets, just the capability, the potential to put you in the room with other professionals that are looking for the same thing, and that is to build their base, support, more people to pull from. So highly recommend it too. Other ways to go about it, and this is still on the acting side, but it does kind of play with the crew as well. If you're just starting off, one of the hardest things is getting onto a crew. I remember the first one I tried, and this is like when I first started, when I was still living in East Texas and Longview, and there was a film that came in town, and I had never been on a set before, like, and not even remotely. And like, I hunt this crew down to the hotel. I go into the lobby, and there's a dude with the belt on. Now, I'm like, man, I just want to be on a film. Like, here's my number. If anybody, who do I talk to? I'll do whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, we'll give you a call. Now, remember, he had a belt on, so it was probably a grip, maybe the gaffer, right? I never got a call. But it takes like that level of like, I really want to be in there. So even though that didn't pan out for me, like I said, Leo got me onto a set where I was able to like finally get a feature connection, right? And I'm shooting my own stuff. So you either try to shoot your own stuff, write something up and plan it. If you're on a crew, that's one way. It may not look that great if you're just starting off, but it's something. And, people can respect that. Like your early day stuff is not always the best, but you just got to keep cracking on it, like these videos. So, you just have to find the opportunities. So in that regard, knowing that if you're just starting off, you've got a lot to learn. Now, don't undervalue yourself where you're never getting anything for it, but you have to consider that you need them more than they need you, right? There's student films, there's no budget short films, features, the 48-hour film race, which is great because like they always muster before the event starts and they're looking for people. It's like, hey, I want to act, or hey, I want to be on crew. And they're like, hell yeah, we need you. We need another warm body. Don't be offended by that concept. Like, consider the fact that warm body, which is you, is now getting onto a set, and you may not know much, but you work your ass off, you be consistent, you be persistent, and you be helpful with a great attitude. They're going to remember that, and you might get a call. It may be 6 months later, it may be 2 months later, it could be a week later. And the guy was like, or somebody's like, hey, we really loved you on that one. We got this other project. We need another body. We want to be on there. And that's another opportunity to meet more folks. So, there's other film competitions. 48 Hours is great because I've done it a few times. I just recently did the new one with Josiah and kicked some ass. 47s. But there's also like community theater. Now you're like, I don't want to do theater. And like, well, one, if you want to get into this, you're going to have to like work. But you also can meet other actors that are not just community theater. They could be working the film side. Like I have a lot of good friends that do that, like Van Quattro. He's an incredible film actor, but he stays busy within the theater community. And so he's constantly honing his craft, staying busy and enjoying what he does. So all things to consider. It's expensive, but take classes when you can. If not, just work on monologues, practice stuff, go to workshops, attend Q&A sessions. Anything where people are meeting and doing, make yourself there. And if you can take lessons to hone it, absolutely. Just making yourself available, finding it, and then you have to just market. And so when you meet those folks at these events, when you meet that director or this producer or this camera operator, this grip, this gaff, whatever, right? Connect with them. And it's kind of like the follow-up. Like some of them still have the business card, but also there's social media, Instagram with a little QR code. It's amazing. It's like a little digital business card that they're not going to throw away when you walk away, because you follow them, they get their little number metric, and maybe they follow you back and then they'll stay. But the more you grow, then they're going to want to, because now you've got your own momentum going. So, and then eventually you join the DPA, like I've been threatening to for years. So the last event was amazing. So I think I'm going to attend more of those. And if you join, you'll find me there as well. They host so many badass events of people just coming together that I think it's worth an annual membership. That I did put the number on, but I could be wrong. And so, yeah, there's your answer, Mr. Vega. Hope it works for you. Third question. Nobody sent this one in exactly, but I've been asked it before, and it's very relatable to, I think, my earlier years as a director, right? Do you just, when you're wanting to like scratch that itch and you just want to create, like you want to pick up a camera and you just want to go shoot, and you just have to do something right now because you can't take it anymore. Don't do that. Like, it's fun, but you're not really helping yourself out the way you could be. You have to make a plan and work the plan, because it all comes down to you're going to fight the way you train. So take the time, instead of just running out with a camera and there's a cool background, like, all right, so this could happen, and then you're going to come up and there's going to be a big fight. Like, no, like, sharpen your craft, learn the bits of like the mechanisms of storytelling, like, hone those skills of writing a story, having your beats, knowing like your act 1, your act 2, act 3, the midpoint, the inciting incident to your B story rolling through, and just making a plan. So when you're walking onto that set, you can create dialogue with intention, which means your story will have intention. And then you're truly directing. If it's impromptu, you got to consider, are you really directing, or are you herding cats with whoever you pulled together that day? I can say that because I did that many, many times. Short film Patient Zero. Could have been really amazing. I mean, it's cool. We had a haunted house. We had all this stuff to work off of. We're able to film some scary, like, creepy scenes. But how much weight did it really have compared to what it could have been, right? If I created dialogue with intention, if I storyboarded those shots completely, if I scripted the scenes, and if I thought it through, versus creating imagery that just made you feel a little like funky because it's like, ooh, that's creepy. Like, okay, but could I have made it scary through intention of my storytelling, right? So it's about, like I said, fighting the way you train. And so you invoke themes and you practice consistency. Like, have a roadmap, have a plan, and then everything will come together from that. So if your baseline's great, your story's like that. If your baseline is, well, I don't know, I just want to go film some shit, that's what you're going to get. And it's not going to be what you want compared to what it can be, right? That, and for God's sakes, editing. If it's impromptu editing, let's not even go into that. We'll do that another day. It's about learning how to tighten an idea and removing the fat before the film. So that way you're really working on the stuff that you want to learn, and you're really honing it and sharpening it and making something really cool. So my advice is, don't do impromptu, and practice directing with intention. and not just desire. To scratch the itch. If you would like to ask me any other questions, my main thing is no political, no religious, and don't be nasty. Cut!